Now back for the fifth week is our ex-frontier lawman and nephew of Wyatt Earp from Sacramento, California, whose category is the Wild West, Virgil Earp.
All your friends are out there. You feel all right, Bert? You look fine. New suit that's very pretty. Isn't it dandy? Bird, you come from a family of law enforcement officers. You're the nephew of the most famous of the United States Marshals. You were a marshal yourself. So you should know, was it tougher or easier to enforce law in your days?
Much tougher.
Well, because there was more crime?
No, there was lesser crime. The people were more honest. You could leave a poke of gold in your home and leave the door wide open. It was as safe as in a bank vault.
Well, then why was the job tougher?
Well, because you were the arresting officer. You took every responsibility on yourself. You were arresting officer, detective, squad car, jailer, the whole thing wrapped up in one.
All one job. If it's not too personal, I don't think this will hurt you now. How much did you get paid in those days for all those duties?
$75 a month, and very happy over it.
$75 a month. How much did Wyatt make? He was
well, the most that Wyatt made as a marshal was when he was over all the rest of Marshal Dodge City. He got $250 a month.
$250 a month for being a marshal. That was a pretty rugged job. Well, couldn't you have made more money in other ventures?
Made summer fortunes. But the Earps are lawmen. You can't make anything else out of them. And they wouldn't be otherwise if they could.
Well, I'm very thankful that the Earps and other men of your breed were the lawmen, because if it weren't for fellows like you, we're liable to have a horseman riding up right now and hold up the whole studio. Well, Virgil, as I say, it's a fascinating history you've had, and I'm very thrilled to know you and learn more about it from week to week. Well, now let's get down to the game itself. Last week, Virgil, you won $16,000. You've had a week to think it over, and you're here tonight to tell us whether you're going to take the $16,000 or gamble it and go for 32.
32 or nothing?
You're going for $32,000. Would you escort Virgil into the booth, please? Virgil, can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
You all comfortable? Ready for the question?
You're ready for the question.
Okay. May I have it, please, Ben? The category, as you know, is the Wild West. The question is worth $32,000. And for that amount, Virgil, I want you to answer the following questions about the colorful West. First, here is a map from Rand McNally's History of Our United States. Would you hand that map in to Mr. Earp, please, Ben? There's the map. Now, that map that you have before you, Virgil, shows one of the most famous trails of the West. What is its name, and what was its purpose, and in what town did it first end, and why? Then, well, wait a second, Virgil. We'll come back to that. I want to give you the rest of this question now. The second part of the question. Buffalo Bill Cody was one of the most famous of the scouts and Indian fighters before he became a showman. Against what two Indian tribes did he scout for the Army from 1868 to 1872? Now, at the Battle of Indian Creek, he killed an Indian chief in hand-to-hand combat. What was the chief's name, and what award did Cody receive from the United States government for his services? Next part of the question, Virgil. One of the most notorious outlaws of the West was Jesse James. A song became popular immediately after his death that went like this. Listen to this song.
Oh, Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But that dirty little coward that shot down Mr. Howard has laid poor Jesse in the grave.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
You're familiar with the song? All right, Virgil, I want to ask you a couple of questions about that song. Now, who was the Mr. Howard mentioned in the song? And who is the man referred to as the dirty little coward? And what was his connection with Jesse James? Now for the final part of this question. Listen very carefully. In order to identify their cattle, the Western ranchers created thousands of personal distinctive brands. Now look at the brands we have illustrated. May I have those, please, Ben? Would you pass those into Virgil? Forget the map for a moment. Now look at those brands, Virgil. First examine brand number 1, up in that left-hand corner. Why was this particular brand chosen for the ranch that used it? Now examine brand number 2. Brand number 2 is the first brand used in America. By whom? Brand number 2 is on the bottom there.
Yeah.
Now, examine brand number 3, which has a very interesting story behind it. What caused this brand to be chosen? That's the question, Virgil. You have a little time to think over your answer. Good luck.
Now, where do we stop? Here?
Right after the music.
Oh.
Right, Virgil, we'll start with the question concerning the map. Now, what is the name of the famous trail?
That's the Chisholm Trail.
That is correct. What purpose did it serve?
It served to run the Longhorns to the shipping market on the railroad.
From the Longhorns from where?
From the Panhandle of Texas.
That is correct. In what town did it originally end?
Why, it ended in Abilene on the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad.
That is correct. Why did it end there?
Well, the railroad hadn't moved up yet. That was the first. That was really the end of the railroad when they shipped from Abilene.
That is correct. Now, you can put both those things down now, Virgil. We'll get to the brands a little later. So hold them with you.
All right.
Now, the second part of the question concerned Buffalo Bill Cody. Buffalo Bill Cody served as scout for the Army against 2 Indian tribes. Which 2 tribes?
The Sioux and the Cheyennes.
That is correct. What Indian chief did he defeat in combat?
Yellow Hand.
What was that?
Yellow Hand.
Yellow Hand?
Yes.
That is correct. What high decoration did he receive?
He received the Congressional Medal of Honor.
That is correct. Now concerning the song that you heard. Who in the song was Mr. Howard?
For Jesse James.
That is correct. Who was referred to as the dirty little coward?
Bob Ford.
Bob Ford is correct. And what was his connection with Jesse James?
Well, he was one of the gang of outlaws under Jesse and Frank James.
That is correct. He was a member of his gang. Now, you can get a picture of the brands in front of you. Concerning the brands, Virgil, brand number 1, why was it chosen by the ranch that used it?
Well, there's a ranch in Texas that covers approximately 6 counties, or 10 counties. The X was a numeral number for the 10, and the I was for, wait a minute.
Virgil, to be fair with
10
you,
in T. 10 in Texas.
10 in Texas.
10 in Texas.
That is correct.
This is in and this is Texas.
Okay, that is right. Now, brand 2. This is the first brand used in America.
Yeah.
By whom was it used?
Cortez
Hernando Cortez is correct.
that captured Mexico.
One more brand to identify for $32,000. What unusual reason caused the choice of this brand?
Well, they were having a big poker game. And the rancher that owned this particular ranch had went broke as far as money. So he staked his ranch against the money on one bet. And his opposer had 4 6s and win the ranch.
Yep.
So he thought nothing better for a branding iron than 4 6s.
The man who won the ranch won it in a poker hand with 4 6s.
4 6s.
And that became his brand? Is that what you
became
say?
the brand, yes.
You're right for $32,000. congratulations again. You've just won 32 big ones. Your next question is worth $64,000, and if you can dig up, and I mean literally dig up a better expert than you are, you can bring him to the studio and help you if you decide to go for $64,000.
I seen an ex-Arizonan, ex-senator yesterday in the office.
Yeah?
Boy, yeah, a wonderful guy.
Well, I'm sure he was glad to see you. Virgil, thanks for being with us tonight. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Good night. Virgil Earp.